Welcome to Levy Stories, where real-life stories come to life. If you're fascinated by true, emotional, and surprising stories, make sure to hit like and subscribe. Your support motivates me to keep sharing these unforgettable stories with you. Now, let's dive into today's story. There is a question I must ask you before I share the unfolding of events. Have you ever found yourself in a fleeting instant that transformed your entire world? A moment so piercing, so relentless, that it slices through your existence, dividing it into two distinct realms, the time before and the time after. If you've experienced something similar, I invite you to share your thoughts in the comments. Share with me if you've ever experienced that deep sense of longing and remorse. The burden of unwavering regret weighs heavily, and if you find yourself drawn to the depths of intense and unexpected tales like this, be sure to subscribe to Shocking Infidelity Saga, for this is merely the start of a profound journey. Some moments linger in the shadows of your heart, never truly letting go. It's not just for a moment. The duration is not limited to a single year. However, it's for all eternity. What's the most agonizing part? They arrive unexpectedly. No one prepares you for it. There are no obvious warning signs. No haunting melodies linger in the air, suggesting that your existence is on the brink of an irreversible transformation. No, it unfolds in a heartbeat. In an instant, the world feels achingly familiar. What comes next? An unspoken tension charges the atmosphere. Your heart races with an intensity that leaves you breathless, and before you can fully grasp the unfolding chaos, your reality fractures into two distinct halves. That's precisely what I experienced. 2 years have passed since that fateful night. 2 long years have passed since I lost a part of my soul, something that was forever out of my reach. 2 years have passed since my father witnessed an unplanned moment. The memory of his expression lingers in my mind, a haunting reminder of what once was. The unspoken longing tightened every muscle in his body. His hand, still clutching the doorknob, froze as if he had stumbled into a haunting dream. His eyes, oh, those eyes, transformed from bewilderment to profound understanding in mere moments. A spark ignited within, awakening long-buried feelings and a yearning that danced on the edge of what was considered acceptable. Fear and dread intertwine, evoking a visceral response that grips the soul. And what about me? I felt a sudden stillness wash over me. I felt utterly paralyzed. Air felt heavy in my lungs. My entire being felt as though it had been encased in ice, as if by remaining perfectly still and suppressing every impulse, I could somehow turn back the clock, transform it into a dreamlike illusion, erase it from existence. Yet, that's the essence of existence. It never stops. It holds you captive, refusing to allow any retreat. Deep within, the scars had already etched themselves. What was the most heart-wrenching part? I never imagined it would unfold in such a way. I never imagined he would witness it. Before I unveil the events that unfolded, it's essential for you to grasp the journey that led me to this moment. For the heart does not awaken one day and choose to unravel all it holds dear. It's a labyrinth of feelings. Where simplicity eludes us, it unfolds gradually, moment by moment, with each decision leading deeper into the heart of longing. The truth sometimes dawns after the moment has passed, leaving only echoes of what could have been. I once believed that my father was the sole individual who truly comprehended the intricacies of my soul. He possessed an uncanny ability to sense the unspoken turmoil within me, even as I masked it with a facade of normalcy. In my childhood, his gaze could pierce through my facade, revealing the weight of a difficult day at school. In my teenage years, he possessed an uncanny ability to sense my deceit, as if he could read the truth in the silence before I even uttered a word. As the years passed, and I entered into a marriage where I wore the mask of happiness, he perceived the truth beneath my facade. Yet, I never imagined he would witness this moment. I never imagined he would witness such a profound moment that etched itself into my being. Yet, prior to that fateful evening, before the world crumbled around me, my existence was merely subdued. It is not the serene kind of stillness that is sought after. It is not the kind of stillness that encourages relaxation, where one can exhale slowly and find solace. No, my life was a silence that echoed with emptiness. It was the kind of silence where you step into a place meant to be a sanctuary, yet it resonates with a hollow echo, as if you only exist within its walls. Despite being 32 years old and married, Chloe, experienced a profound loneliness that had persisted for an extended period. My husband was a distant memory, a shadow of the love we once shared. I discovered that I was yearning for something more in the quiet moments, something that felt both exhilarating and forbidden. The thrill of rediscovering emotions I thought were long buried stirred a fire within me, igniting a passion that was both intoxicating and dangerous. Every look was detached. This is not the overtly theatrical manner often depicted in films, where one returns home at 3 a.m., reeking of another's presence. No, the quiet space between us felt heavy, a whisper of something unspoken. Gentle, it seeped in gradually, an insidious whisper that went unnoticed until the weight of its presence overwhelmed everything around it. Initially, it was merely subtle hints. He would absent-mindedly scroll through his phone, avoiding my gaze as I poured out my heart. I was left yearning for something more profound, something that was unspoken yet profoundly felt, as he would dismiss my touch as if it were merely a fleeting spark. The manner in which his kisses transitioned from a tender warmth and a genuine connection to a mere routine left a lingering ache in her heart. An unquenchable longing fueled his actions, stirring deep within him. This longing spiraled into a profound obsession. He ceased to inquire about the moments that filled my hours. I lost touch with the pain that lingered within me. The pain completely disappeared from my life. It felt as though I had faded into the background of my marriage, an unnoticed presence in a space that once held vibrant connection. There was a sense of lingering in the shadows, waiting to be felt once more. It was something that one could touch and embrace, yet one could never truly experience. What was the most excruciating part? I gave in to the attraction of my emotions. I let go of the urge to reclaim him. I relinquished the expectation that he would ever harbor the same affection for me as he did in the past. Eventually, the weight of it all becomes too much to bear. I grow weary of reaching out, only to encounter emptiness in return. I am tired of longing for a presence that has vanished from my life. In that stillness, I found myself. I followed the path that countless women in my situation have taken. I convinced myself that everything was okay. I once believed my life was fulfilling. That union lacked the fervor, the intimacy, and the recognition that the heart craves. That passion wanes. And that's simply the way of the heart. Yet, as I whispered those reassurances to myself, a part of me began to fade, consumed by an unquenchable longing. And then there stood my father, a figure wrapped in complexities and unspoken yearnings, in the shadows of my heart, where longing intertwines with regret. My marriage felt like a fading echo, while my father's presence was a distant memory, almost unreachable. He had once been different, a reflection of innocence now overshadowed by a longing that dared not speak its name. In my formative years, my father stood as my unwavering support. He was the kind of man whose voice remained a gentle whisper, never breaking the silence with anger. He consistently demonstrated empathy for the unsaid, providing comfort when life's burdens became too much to bear. He was the one who enveloped me in his embrace as tears streamed down my face from my first heartbreak, softly murmuring, "You deserve so much more than this." However, the loss of my mother left a part of him irreparably shattered. He held back the tears. He refrained from shedding tears. He didn't mourn in the way I had imagined he would. He simply closed off, retreating within himself. In a fleeting moment, he became the embodiment of my father. He was the man who held the key to unspoken truths. I have always felt the gentle touch of a guiding hand, steady and unwavering. What comes after this? He lingered like a whisper in the dark, a man shrouded in silence, lost in the depths of his thoughts, often gazed out the window, disconnected from the vibrant life that surrounded him. It was as though he had acquired a portion of her, as if he had vanished with my mother, despite his physical presence. For months, I yearned to connect with him. I reached out. I ventured forth. I was seated next to him on the couch, and my heart was pleading with him to share his thoughts with me. However, he remained silent and distant. He had vanished from my world, leaving behind an aching void. Ultimately, I yielded to the attraction of my heart, and that was existence. A tapestry woven with the threads of longing and unspoken passions. I had a partner who remained blind to my existence. He was a father, lost in the depths of his own unspoken thoughts, and I linger in the shadows, caught in a delicate balance, unnoticed by either side. That night marked the start of a conversation we had both avoided for years. After weeks of silence between us, my father unexpectedly showed up at my doorstep that evening. My husband, as usual, left for another business trip that evening. An unspoken tension charged the night. At that moment, I was blissfully unaware. I had no idea that everything I knew was on the brink of transformation. The realization that the man I had admired for my entire life was about to reveal a secret aspect of my being, which I had fervently concealed, shivered through me. I had no idea that an overwhelming sense of longing and remorse would consume me as the night unfolded. That night began like any other. Yet beneath the surface, a stirring of longing whispered promises of the unexpected. Everything feels ordinary. Everything feels just as it should be. No sign could have deterred me. No caution could have held me back. My husband departed earlier than usual, embarking on yet another of his business trips, leaving behind a silence that stirred something deep within me. This was his 5th business trip in just 2 short months. I found myself lost in the moment, not even questioning his destination this time. I didn't inquire about his return. What was the purpose of it all? I had a feeling the answer would remain unchanged. It was just a matter of a few short days. Life has been filled with chaos, and I would acquiesce? This has consistently been the case, feigning ignorance to the suitcase brimming with an excess of clothes, more than any man could require for just 2 days. I feigned indifference to the widening, chilling chasm that separated us, as if we inhabited entirely different worlds. So, I followed the familiar path once more. I chose to remain within the confines of my space. I found myself alone in a realm of yearning. The silence was shattered by the fateful knock. It was tender, uncertain. It felt as if their presence on the other side was caught in a delicate dance of uncertainty, questioning their very right to exist in that moment. Surprise lingered in the air, an uninvited presence that stirred something deep within me. My father was present as I opened the door, his shoulders drawn tight and his eyes veiled with an unnameable weight. Cloaked in the night, in that moment, my heart faltered, caught in a web of unspoken emotions. He appeared more weathered than the last time our paths crossed. His face, once vibrant and confident, now bore the weight of longing and unfulfilled dreams. His skin appeared weary, tautly draped over pronounced cheekbones, revealing a depth of longing beneath the surface. His eyes, once filled with certainty and understanding, now appeared to drift away, shrouded in an enigmatic haze. He glided through the shadows of longing. He felt like he was searching for an elusive truth, something that hovered just out of his reach. "Father," I gasped, taken aback. As I moved aside, "Why have you come to this place?" In that fleeting instant, his gaze lingered on me, heavy with unspoken longing. He appeared to be lost in a complex web of ambiguity. Then, with a soft breath that carried the weight of unspoken longing, he stepped inside. I felt compelled to come by. His voice held a whisper of longing. His voice was more profound than I had ever remembered. "It feels like an eternity since our paths last crossed." It was a simple statement. Yet, it carried a weight far beyond that. He seemed to delve into the very essence of existence, touching upon a truth that transcended mere moments. The truth lingered in the shadows, unspoken yet palpable between us. I gently shut the door, sealing away the world outside. In that moment, it was only us. We were lost in a world that felt both exhilarating and dangerous. There was only pure focus. Silence lingers, unbroken by the sound of a ringing phone. There were no insincere conversations in which we pretended to be happy. It was solely the two of us. The silence surrounded us. I led him into the living room, where the atmosphere was permeated with an indescribable sense of anxiety. The air was thick with unspoken tension as I served him a drink. I indulged in one as well. A sudden dryness crept into my throat, stirring something deep within me, which was unexpected. Words eluded me in that moment. What words can capture the essence of someone who once filled your existence, yet now seems so distant and unfamiliar? In that moment, I let my heart speak without restraint. "How have you been feeling?" It seemed like a simple question to ask. I had long since unearthed this question from the depths of my heart. With a subtle, almost reluctant shrug, he seemed caught between expectations and his inner stirrings. He lifted the glass to his lips, relishing the moment as the liquid danced on his tongue. The liquid remained unchanged, yet it stirred beneath the surface. There is a sense of significance, but it lacks depth. We lingered in that moment, our drinks in hand, the unspoken tension weaving a delicate thread between us. And then he uttered a phrase that sent a shiver through my heart. "Have you ever experienced that feeling?" He lingered, the glass swirling gently between his fingers, lost in a moment that felt both thrilling and forbidden. Do you feel like a mere observer of your own life unfolding? It is as if you are present in the moment, yet you remain distant, ensnared in a whirlwind of unspoken emotions. I took a deep breath. Oh, the intensity of it all. How it tugs at the very core of my being. That encompassed my entire existence. Yet, those words never escaped my lips. In that moment, I offered a subtle nod, a silent acknowledgement of the unspoken tension that lingered between us. Indeed, the weight of unspoken longing was carried by my voice as it slipped from my lips, softer than I had hoped. Always, in that moment, his gaze pierced through the veil of our unspoken longing. He truly gazed into my soul. It was as if he glimpsed the shadows of his suffering mirrored in my expression. Marriage has its peculiarities, doesn't it? His voice carried a weight of longing, not resentful. Only, I am exhausted and filled with longing. I released a soft, breathy laugh. Indeed, humorous. We lingered in that moment, the warmth of our drinks enveloping us, allowing the gravity of our unspoken feelings to hang in the air. And after what felt like an eternity, our words flowed freely once more. Our conversations went beyond mere superficial exchanges. Isn't it more than just your daily routine? Or have you become engrossed in your own thoughts? No! We delved into the depths of our souls. In the depths of solitude, a yearning stirs, awakening feelings long buried. A fire ignites in the shadows of desire, yearning for connection and the thrill of unintended outcomes. It seeps in gradually, almost imperceptibly, until it finds a home within you, nestled deep in your very essence. It's a reflection on how sometimes the bonds we form can seem insignificant compared to the allure of something hidden, something that stirs the heart in unexpected ways. Isolation remains indifferent. It seeks you out, regardless of the barriers in place. We delved into the depths of my mother's world. Her absence lingered like a haunting melody, leaving him adrift, a shadow of his former self, yearning for what could never be. I divulged to him secrets buried deep within me, words I had never spoken until that very moment. My marriage resembled a dimly lit house, every window sealed tight, suffocating in its stillness, devoid of warmth and light. For years, I had constructed a complex web of excuses, convincing myself that this was the inherent decline of love and the essence of normalcy. And then, a moment unfolded. It was a whisper of something greater. It was just a whisper of presence. Yet, I sensed it deeply. There was a noticeable shift in the atmosphere. There was an intensity in his gaze. A moment that stretched into something unspoken, electric, and charged. It did not happen in a manner that was ever intended to hold significance. Despite all the odds, it did indeed happen, and a deep yearning within me, something thrilling, something wild awakens. Perhaps it was the intoxicating allure of the moment. Perhaps it was the ache of solitude. It is possible that the realization that someone had genuinely noticed me after what seemed like an eternity was the cause, or perhaps, just perhaps, it wasn't he who had changed that evening. Perhaps it was my heart that led me astray. I ought to have turned my gaze elsewhere. I ought to have let it go. Giggled. The focus shifted. I needed to do something. Anything to shatter the tension that enveloped us in that moment. Yet, I refrained. I was engulfed by a longing that was both exhilarating and inappropriate as I sat there, gazing into his eyes. What was the most heart-wrenching aspect? I found it deeply captivating. The way his gaze captivated me was intoxicating. It was as if I were more than a mere familiar face, but a captivating secret that he longed to uncover. It felt like an eternity since someone had gazed at me with such intensity. Someone had peered into my depths, revealing the hidden facets of my soul that yearned for an unidentified desire. And that's when the weight of longing began to settle in. Intense, weighty. I gripped the corners of my thoughts, murmuring, "What on earth is the matter with you?" This was my father, a figure shrouded in complexity and longing. He nurtured my spirit, guided me through the darkest nights, and stood by my side when the world turned away. What was it about this moment that stirred such deep emotions within me? Why was there no tightness in my chest, no heat radiating from my skin, and no unevenness in my breath? Why was my heart racing as if it were anticipating a moment it shouldn't? I took a deep breath, my heart racing as I averted my eyes, clutching my glass as if it held the power to anchor me, to silence the tumultuous whispers echoing in my mind. I should should check on dinner," I whispered, rising abruptly, desperate to escape the suffocating tide of my feelings. Yet, as I began to step away, an undeniable sensation washed over me. His hand glided gently against mine like a whisper, and that was the moment of awakening. That was the moment when everything transformed. It was a fleeting moment, a whisper of warmth, skin brushing against skin, igniting a spark that lingered in the air. Yet it coursed through me like electricity, igniting a primal urge. Something untamed, something thrillingly perilous. He remained, unwilling to sever the bond. Nor did I. It felt like a gentle caress. That was everything it ever was. Yet, it remained. Excessive duration, overwhelming, a fleeting instant lingered, heavy with unspoken longing. The warmth of his hand ignited something deep within me, the texture of his skin a haunting reminder of a bond that felt eternal. Yet in that fleeting moment, the weight of our unspoken truth pressed heavily against my heart. In that fleeting moment, my thoughts disintegrated into countless fragments. A part of me was screaming, "This is not right. This situation feels so forbidden. This feels so forbidden. What is hidden behind the curtain?" There was a sense of yearning. I was yearning for intimacy, for a spark, for an experience that resonated deeply. And the most heart-wrenching aspect, it was more than just him. This moment was merely a whisper of something deeper. It had been an eternity of solitude, a desperate search through shadows, only to encounter emptiness, the memories of those quiet nights beside my husband, gazing at the ceiling, questioning when the warmth had faded and when I had begun to feel unseen, flooded back. It was in the way he kissed me, not during those carefree beginnings when love flowed effortlessly, but in the moments that came after, when the heaviness of time had woven itself into our lives. His hands would caress my skin, then retreat as though I were delicate, as though the force of his touch could shatter me into a million fragments. It was the weight of every icy stare, the emptiness of each unspoken meal, the countless nights spent in solitude, wrapped in the ache of feeling undesired. In this fleeting moment, as my father's touch lingers on my skin and my body vibrates with an unbidden sensation, everything I had buried surged forth, overwhelming me with its intensity. I knew I should have turned back. In that fleeting instant, I should have pulled away, cast aside the heavy burden of my feelings, and willed myself to erase the essence of what was unfolding. Yet, I chose not to. I lingered, and in that moment, everything transformed. The moment slipped away, yet it lingered. An electric tension in the atmosphere, a stirring of emotions that had long been dormant. I slipped into the kitchen, feigning a need to check something and masking my desire for space. Yet, I could still sense it, that delicate, ephemeral caress. It was a whirlwind of sensations, a blend of emptiness and fullness that consumed me entirely. I ignited the stove, despite having no intention of cooking, and flung open the cabinets. Despite having no intention of searching within, my thoughts were incessantly replaying the moment. Despite the fact that my hands were in motion, I convinced myself it was foolish, that I was imagining something that didn't exist, that my loneliness was clouding my judgment, that this wasn't truly about him, but rather about my struggles, about the countless years of emptiness, of yearning for something indescribable. The sound of footsteps echoed behind me, stirring a mix of anticipation and trepidation within my heart. I pivoted. My father lingered in the doorway, his gaze fixed on me, a veil of mystery cloaking his expression. "Are you all right?" His voice held a steady calm, yet beneath the surface lingered an unspoken tension, a yearning that stirred the depths of the heart. I masked my true feelings with a smile. "Indeed, I am simply exploring the depths of my thoughts." He nodded, stepping forward, his body drawn to the counter as if it held secrets waiting to be unveiled. "Your actions tonight have been quite frequent." I released a soft, breathy laugh, my head shaking in disbelief. It seems like tonight is filled with unspoken longings. The air was thick with unspoken words, the quiet buzz of the refrigerator, the gentle tick of the clock, and the delicate patter of rain beginning to dance on the windows, creating a moment heavy with longing. His gaze remained fixed on me, and an unexplainable apprehension prevented me from gazing into his eyes. I was terrified of the truths he might uncover within me, and I was even more apprehensive about the reflections I might find there. "Come, let us find a moment together." His voice carried a softness, tinged with a hint of uncertainty. A flutter of anticipation stirred within me as I acquiesced, following him into the living room. We found ourselves in a moment of quiet intimacy. The distance that once separated us seemed to vanish, drawing us closer in a way that stirred something deep within. I'm uncertain whether it truly was or if it merely seemed that way. The lamp beside us bathed the room in a gentle, intimate glow, a light that blurred the edges of reality, making everything feel tender and inviting, as if the weight of our choices could be lifted, if only for a moment. The relentless ticking of the clock echoed in my mind, a reminder of the moments slipping away, each second heavy with unspoken longing. It resonated more intensely now, as if it were marking the moments leading to an inevitable revelation. We shared our thoughts. In the quiet places where the heart whispers secrets, there is a world of contrasts. It's a place to look into the deep and the silly, where longing and revelation dance together. Initially, everything felt effortless. Illumination. Yet, the words began to weigh down on me. He revealed secrets about my mother. He talked about the times he wakes up from sleep, longing for her to be by his side. The silence in his house lingers like a haunting presence, trailing him from one room to another, a constant reminder of what once was and what could never be. I shared the truth of my marriage with him. At that moment, his hand embraced mine, sparking a sensation that sent chills down my spine. Not hasty. This is not a coincidence. Intentional. She was calm and unwavering. My breath hitched. I ought to have stepped back. I was aware of that all along. Yet, I refrained. A glimmer of warmth ignited within me for the first time in what seemed like an eternity. The sensation was not just on my skin, but deep within my soul. My gaze lingered on our intertwined fingers. His presence loomed larger, more rugged, yet his caress was tender and gentle. The environment was soft and tender, comforting. It is both warm and inviting. Wasn't the situation just what it seemed to be? Only solace. A secret embrace draws two hearts, aching and yearning, together, finding a comfort in the depths of their longing. Two souls that used to be left alone in the cold are now bravely embracing the warmth of a connection that feels both thrilling and forbidden. I convinced myself it was just a fleeting moment, devoid of significance. It was merely a fleeting instant. A wave of yearning overtook me as I imagined the rapidity of my heartbeat, the way my skin ignited with every brush of his fingers. The feeling was pure and innocent. Yet, what once felt like solace can transform into an intoxicating longing. It is a moment that lingers, forever out of reach. This transformative experience leaves a lasting impression on your soul. At the beginning, the tempest beyond the walls had seeped in, subtle and hushed, like a secret longing awaiting unveiling. The soft patter of raindrops danced against the windows, creating a soothing melody that stirred something deep within. The distant rumble of thunder whispered through the air, gentle yet intensifying, as if something deep within was awakening, poised on the brink of release. Within those walls, the atmosphere was heavy with unspoken longing, weighty. Your heart becomes heavy, restricting your breath and causing your pulse to twitch wildly. His hand rested gently on mine, a symbol of the emotional distance we had crossed, igniting a spark of longing that felt both exhilarating and dangerous. We remained frozen in that moment. Neither of us dared to admit it. I whispered to myself that it was merely a fleeting caress. It was simply venturing into unfamiliar territory. The fleeting moment ignited passion without the weight of devastation, a whisper of longing that could linger in the heart without leaving any permanent marks. Yet, in the depths of my soul, I was aware of the truth, for it is the thrill of longing that ignites a fire within, far beyond the mundane embrace of safety. You don't feel breathless in safety, as if the other person can sense your longing. Safety can't ignite the fire within you after a long stretch of numbness. I ought to have stepped back. I should have risen, crossed the space that separated us, and created a barrier before this intoxicating pull could deepen into something uncontainable. Yet, I found myself frozen in place. I felt an overwhelming reluctance to leave my current place. The tempest outside intensified, the wind howling against the panes, as the heavens unleashed a fierce, electrifying crack of thunder, and that was the moment everything changed. My gaze met his, a spark igniting within me. His gaze was already upon me. His expression was enigmatic, yet his eyes conveyed a powerful message. They possessed a depth of feeling that was entirely new to me. Perhaps I concealed a truth from my own heart. My breath became trapped in my throat. His thumb lightly touched my skin, a touch so delicate that I could have easily dismissed it as a mere coincidence. Yet, it encompassed all that mattered. And then, he leaned in, as if swept away by an unseen force that neither of us could resist. Perhaps I truly did. I can't recall who took that initial step. I find myself questioning whether it ever truly held significance. This is all I am aware of. The distance that had previously divided us vanished in an instant. Our silence lingered, charged with unspoken emotion we didn't fully understand in an instant. before reason could take hold, before the warnings echoed in my mind, and before I could grasp the weight of the consequences. It began with a gentle whisper, uncertain. They were like two souls teetering on the brink of an abyss, fully aware of the consequences, yet irresistibly drawn to the precipice, yearning to embrace the thrill of the unknown. His breath brushed against my skin, a tantalizing warmth radiating from his body so close to mine. He seemed to tremble as his hands lingered, as if he were unsure of our boundaries and waiting for me to move. And for a fleeting instant, I allowed myself to feel the weight of everything I had buried for so long. I released the weight of remorse. Release the grip of your apprehensions. Release the weight of solitude that has lingered, the endless attempts to connect that led to emptiness, and the deep sense of being unseen. After an eternity of longing, a spark of something unresolved stirred in me. Not desire, but the weight of years of distance and silence. I felt truly understood. Yet, amidst the silence, a sound emerged. The atmosphere underwent a shift that surpassed the chaos raging outside the walls. The threshold, the slightest sound, a whisper of a creak, sent a shiver through me, stirring something deep within, igniting a longing I thought was buried. My heart froze in that moment. I turned with each agonizing moment, feeling the weight of longing pull at my very core. And that was the moment I laid eyes on him. He lingered at the threshold, gaze unblinking. The face lacks color. Thoughts and feelings flicker through a cloud of doubt and confusion, giving way to a deeper, more troubling feeling. Fear grips the heart. Shadows dance in the corners of the mind, and the unknown whispers secrets that chill the soul. There was raw, unrestrained terror. Stillness. It engulfs the area, engulfing it with a force that is both enthralling and devouring. My breath hung heavy in my throat, ensnared in a tumult of disbelief and overwhelming dread. My entire being froze, as if every trace of warmth had vanished from my flesh, replaced only by a chilling emptiness. He lingered in the shadows, my beloved. His silhouette lingered in the entrance, the soft glow behind him creating an aura of mystery that danced across his features. Yet, the unspoken emotions enveloped me, transcending the need for words or glances. The atmosphere crackled with an unspoken tension, a palpable change that enveloped us. The heavy burden of awakening envelops me. Each breath was measured and restrained as his chest rose slowly, as if he were desperately clinging to something fragile, resisting the urge to let it all spill out before me. I yearned to express myself. I felt an overwhelming urge to express myself. Yet, silence enveloped everything. What words could ever capture this feeling? What language can capture the intensity of a moment like this? What words can express the intensity of a moment like this? A fleeting instant occurs when you gaze into the eyes of the one meant to be your companion, your affection, your everything, and you see only a fracture waiting to shatter. I stood paralyzed, breath caught in my throat, my heart racing as I searched desperately for a way to undo this moment, to erase its existence, to escape the weight of reality pressing down on me. Yet, the moment had slipped away. His gaze darted between me and him, my father, lingering beside me. The proximity was charged with an unspoken tension that felt both perilous and intoxicating. Then it returns to me. It takes me back to the depths of my past actions. My heartbeat echoed in the silence, a relentless reminder of what lay beneath the surface. His voice was thunderous and chaotic, pounding against my chest as if yearning to escape. However, a heavy silence hung in the air. Silence lingered in the air. He didn't pursue the truth. He lingered in the shadows, a silent figure caught in the throes of unspoken longing. He was staring at me. He was gazing deep within my soul. He appeared to be observing me from a fresh perspective, grappling with a disconcerting blend of attraction and contempt. The relentless ticking of the clock echoed in the silence, each second a reminder of the unspoken yearnings that lingered in the air. The tempest outside continued to howl, a wild symphony of chaos and longing. However, within these four walls, for this fleeting instant, time itself appeared to halt. In that moment, silence enveloped the air as he pivoted away, leaving an unspoken tension lingering between them. He turned away, his heart heavy with unspoken longing. He did so without a moment's hesitation. There was not a single moment of regret. I turned my back and stepped away. A deep fissure opened within me. It surged within me. I experienced the tumultuous churn within myself. I experienced the constriction in my chest, a bittersweet ache that lingered. My knees gave way under the overwhelming burden of my actions, the profound sense of loss hitting me like a tidal wave. All at once, I sank onto the couch, trembling hands and breath hitching in a chaotic rhythm. This moment was everything I had been yearning for. I suddenly realized in a rush. This moment was irreversible. There's no turning back now. There's no denying the truth of what transpired. I had ventured into a realm from which there was no return. What was the most heart-wrenching part? Deep down, I understood that the responsibility for my decisions was entirely mine. Regret creeps in slowly, wrapping around your heart like a shadow, revealing its weight in fragments rather than all at once. It crashes over me in surges. At first, it strikes you abruptly, a searing pain that resonates profoundly in your heart. It sweeps you off your feet, leaving you breathless, yearning for clarity and longing to escape the haunting dream that has ensnared you. Yet, it spirals into something even darker. For once, the initial jolt subsides, and the fleeting instant drifts away. A chilling realization dawns upon you. It lingers, refusing to fade into the shadows. The heaviness of shame and guilt wraps around you, an oppressive force that seeps into your very being. It clings to your bones, a relentless reminder of desires that dare not speak their name. You long to break free, to flee from its grasp, yet it holds you captive, an inescapable truth that lingers in the shadows of your heart. For there is no fleeing from the depths of your soul. I remained in the silence for an interminable amount of time after he departed. Remained still. I held back the tears, breath caught in my throat. I found myself frozen in place, lost in thought, as memories of that moment flooded my mind, each replay igniting a yearning for a different ending. Yet, it remained an unchanging truth. The door slowly creaks open, revealing a world filled with unspoken longings. His silhouette lingers on the ground, a haunting reminder of unspoken yearnings. Our gazes intertwine, igniting a spark that feels both exhilarating and dangerous. All that once stood strong now falls apart. I was swept up in a whirlwind of possibilities, contemplating the tantalizing question, what if? What if I had distanced myself earlier? What if I had never allowed myself to venture down that path? What if I had retreated before everything escaped my control? I had the power to halt it all. I could have put an end to it. Yet, I refrained. And now, the heartache was laid bare. The remnants of my marriage had faded into nothingness. My father, the one who ignites a flurry of emotions within me, is a powerful force, divine, lost in a whirlwind of emotions. I struggled to navigate the intensity of it all. How do you gaze upon the one who was meant to shield you, the one you held in trust, the unwavering presence in your existence, and come to terms with the fact that you have shattered it all? Have you entered a realm so profound and unalterable that you have no choice but to retreat? I convinced myself that with time, everything would heal. Time has a way of mending all wounds. Over time, the weight would decrease. The memories would soften, and the humiliation would become more manageable. Yet, certain scars remain unhealed. Some wounds linger, etched deep within the heart. Some wounds linger, aching with a bittersweet intensity. And this was one of those moments. I never imagined I would find myself entangled in something so unexpected and profound. I once believed I had a firm grasp on my essence. Even in my deepest solitude and the fragments of my shattered heart, there remained an unyielding awareness of the boundaries I dared not cross. I held the conviction that I could consistently muster the courage to retreat before breaching a boundary that would forever haunt me. Yet, in moments of deep longing, when the heart craves connection, warmth, and the gaze of another, the mind can falter, surrendering to the powerful pull of emotion. And when the truth dawns upon you, the moment has already slipped away. Now, I must navigate the depths of this longing. The burden of regret weighs heavily on me. The longing, the heaviness in my heart, a burden I cannot shake off, lingers with an intensity that feels both familiar and forbidden. Yet perhaps you have wandered these paths as well. Perhaps you've experienced the same deep longing that I have. You may have experienced a deep longing within your spirit. There is a silent longing for a more profound bond. Perhaps you found yourself in a moment where your feelings overwhelmed you, leading you to embrace an experience you never imagined you would allow. If you've experienced this, I long to hear your story. Could you have turned your back on it all? Or might you have chosen a similar path? Share your feelings in the comments below. I would love to hear your reflections. While acknowledging the unchangeability of the past, I hope we can find a way to discuss it together. The truth is, life frequently veers towards ambiguity, far from the clarity we yearn for. If you crave the intensity of genuine, heart-wrenching tales that lay bare the complexities of human emotion, be sure to subscribe to Shocking Infidelity Saga. This is just the beginning. This episode is merely a glimpse into a deeper journey. And believe me, There's so much more to uncover. In the depths of my journey, a singular truth has emerged. Loneliness can be a treacherous companion. It seeps in gradually, like a whisper that lingers in the air. Before you realize it, it has wrapped itself so tightly around you that it becomes difficult to breathe. During profound moments of longing, when the heart aches with an insatiable void, one finds themselves drawn to unexpected sources of solace, seeking to fill that aching chasm, even if it means stepping into uncharted territory you never thought you would dare to tread. It's worth it. This is true even if it requires the ultimate sacrifice, even if it leads you down a path of unfamiliarity within yourself. It is worth it. Loneliness can stir deep feelings within us. It can lead you to depths of longing you never thought possible. Yet there are certain realms from which you can never truly come back. Thank you for staying with me until the end of this story. If it touched you, don't forget to like and subscribe to Levy Stories. Your support means the world to me and encourages me to bring more impactful, real-life stories just like this one. Stay tuned for more, and I'll see you in the next video.